Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into a special edition of our weekly videos here on Chat Sports talking about the San Francisco 49ers. Today, we're diving into the 2019 schedule, going game by game and taking a look at all of the 49ers opponents for this year's upcoming 2019 San Francisco 49ers schedule. Listen, it's an interesting schedule. It's an easy schedule, but there's a couple of roadblocks along the way, and we'll jump right into it right here. First off, let's just take a look. They have the 11th hardest schedule in the entire NFL. Only 6 games against playoff teams this past year, and the big one, which I'm really excited about, I know you guys are too, 3 primetime games. Count them, 1, 2, 3. Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. Sadly, no Sunday Night Football, but if we're good enough, they can always flex those later on in the season. But let's go ahead, dive right into it with Week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers there. A typical morning-ish start, 1:25 p.m. Against the Bucs on Fox. Listen, Bucs 5-11 last year, bottom of their division. Of course, 49ers 4-12 last year there. Overall series, 49ers lead this series 17-7, and they did meet last year, and it was in December. Bucs won 27-9. This, to me, the perfect opponent to start your 2019 season off with, because I don't think the Bucs are going to be very good this year. I actually think that this is JAMEIS Winston's last year in Tampa Bay. Bruce Arians is the head coach. I like him a lot. But overall, I think he's going to have a rough season, get Jameis out of there, and then draft their quarterback of the future. I like this matchup, Week 1, an easier opponent here. And yeah, you got to go cross-country to Tampa Bay, but it's Week 1, so it's not that big a deal. But we'll see what they do against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 1. Week 2, on the road again. Go to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals on Sunday, September 15th. And listen, Bengals, another bad team. Back-to-back bad teams here for the 49ers to take on in Week 1. 6-10 this past year. Niners lead this overall series 11-4. And they last met, it's been a while, 2015. Bengals won that one 24-14. Another bad team, another team that I think could be the last year for their starting quarterback. New head coach coming over from Los Angeles, the offensive coordinator for Sean McVay. They're apparently going to stick with Andy Dalton, and they drafted Jonah Williams in the first round this past year to kind of help out Andy Dalton, I guess. Yeah, you got to deal with A.J. Green, you got to deal with those running backs. Andy Dalton, not that great. I'm not too worried about him. But at the same time, the defense, they have some players. Still 6-10 last year, so I think there's a good shot for the Niners to start the season off with 2 wins to go to 2-0. Because again, the scheduling's one thing, but it's all about when you play these guys, and I would much rather start off against 2 easy teams, get Jimmy Garoppolo, get Shanahan, get them flowing, get them going, and then head into what is a pretty tough one here in Week 3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we do that, though, let's throw it up on the screen. We're going to do a special 49ers, my first time, a 49ers mailbag this next week. So get your questions in down in the comments below what you want to ask me about the 49ers coming up next week. Use the hashtag 49ers, or just DM them to me on Twitter. A lot easier to find that way, at RealThomasMott on Twitter. DM me, and I will answer as many 49ers questions this next week as I can. I'm really excited about this, so go ahead, get your questions down below. We just mentioned it, Week 3, going to take on, we're home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the home opener there on Sunday, September 22nd. Steelers, of course, 9-6 last year, missed the postseason, and have had a ton of changes overall inside their organization and on their roster. The Niners lead this series 11-10, and they last met in 2015. Let's not talk about that. 43-18 was the score in that one. Steelers did win. I mentioned the changeover, right? You still have Mike Tomlin, you still have Big Ben Roethlisberger, but no Le'Veon Bell, no Antonio Brown. It's going to be interesting to see what Pittsburgh can do offensively on the outside. It's basically Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington. It's overall not the best receiver core that we've come to expect from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, with the 49ers secondary being bad, hopefully improved this year, perhaps they can maybe steal one here against Pittsburgh. At least it's at home. Like that a lot. And a good opponent, a good litmus test early here for the 49ers in Week 3 taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Week 4, I got that early bye. I hate the early bye. I think teams hate it too because you're only 3 weeks in. You're not that banged up. Push the bye back. We want a Week 8 bye, a Week 9 bye. The later byes are better. One of the worst parts about the schedule, in my opinion, is having a Week 4 bye. But there you go. an early week off. You can watch, I guess, the other teams in the NFL instead of the 49ers, and then finally get back here for week 5. We'll recap the first 4 weeks, throw them up on the board here. You see them. At Bucks, at Bengals, home against the Steelers, and then the bye. How many wins in the first 4 games do you guys see here? For me, this is an easy 2-1, okay, and a potential 3-0 depending on what we see from Pittsburgh this year. But 2-1 in the first 4 with the bye week, hey, I think we would all take that hands down. Let's keep going on. Week 5, here you go, your very first primetime game, Monday Night Football at home against the Cleveland Browns there. Browns, of course, 7-9 last year. 49ers, we said before, 4-12. So the Browns are technically better, but, you know, the Browns do lead the series 12-7 overall. And they last met in 2015 again. 24-10, Browns did win that one. Baker versus Garoppolo. Many people have kind of written off Garoppolo as a young, good quarterback. Not written him off, but, you know, we kind of forgot about him last year. Baker is the rising star. We'll see if Jimmy Garoppolo can, you know, go tit for tat here on Monday night and in the primetime lights and kind of show up to the national audience saying, hey, remember when I was really, really good? This Baker kid, let's put him aside. I'm the better young quarterback here. Listen, again, there were the defensive backs and secondary here for the 49ers going to have their hands full with the Browns receivers, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, but at least Monday Night Football, a really fun matchup here, Browns versus 49ers. The next week, tough, at the Los Angeles Rams, your first divisional game. It's going to be the normal early afternoon start on October 13th. Rams, 13-3 last year, remember that? Made it to the Super Bowl and then lost. The 49ers do lead the series. Well, the series is actually tied, 69-69, and then 3 total ties as well. So, pretty even series there, pretty much neck and neck. See who wins this one. The last meeting, of course, 2018, the Rams won that one 48-32. So, I don't know what the Rams are going to be this year. Obviously, they have the talent. Can Gurley be healthy is one question. Can Goff continue to improve is question number 2. And what about the Super Bowl hangover? Happens to every single team. This would be a great, great test and a great chance for the Niners to get in the win column in the division up here in Week 6. Week 7, stay on the road, go across the country again to take on the Washington Redskins. Redskins were 7-9 last year when the Niners lead the series 20-11-1 overall. They last met in 2017. It was a close one. Redskins won 26-24. This, to me, is another one of those easy checkbox wins. Haskins will have had 6 games underneath his belt, which, you know, maybe he starts to improve because, you know, the rookie quarterbacks get into the reps. But I think Washington's going to be a bottom 4 team in the league this coming year. And so for the Niners, could easily pick up another win here at the Washington Redskins. Week 8, not an easy one, at home against the Carolina Panthers. Panthers were 7-9 last year, and they last met in 2017. Panthers won that one 23-3. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Cam Newton coming back to coming back to Levi Stadium where he lost the Super Bowl against the Broncos. Remember, in our house? We'll see what he does here on the road. The Panthers are on the road taking on the 49ers. The Panthers are going to be interesting this year because it's all about Cam's shoulder health. They say he's going to be healthy, but of course, remember last year, he didn't play the final 2 games of the season and really had a noodle arm the entire time because of that shoulder injury. So I'm curious to see what the Panthers are at this point in the season. But by week 8, we're going to know basically all we need to know about every single NFL team. So who knows if the Niners are on a win streak, not looking good, where the Panthers are. Be curious there, week 8 against Carolina. So let's recap these previous 4 games. Browns, Monday Night Football, at the Rams, at the Redskins, and then the Panthers. So 2 at home, 2 on the road. Doesn't look too bad there. I want to throw up a quick poll question here, because I'm always curious about this one. What was the last 49ers game you guys did attend? I'm curious. Now, there's probably some people who just attended one last year, but maybe the last one you attended was a while ago. It's been a while for me, so if you are a 49ers fan, you got season tickets, you want to, get me one, I can go to a game at Levi Stadium, DM me at RealThomasMod on Twitter. I would always be fine and actually really excited to go to a game with you guys. Let's keep going. Winding down, latter half of the season here. Got to start picking up some wins. Week 9 at the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday night. So here is another primetime game here. It's on Thursday, but still, primetime lights are the only game on at that time. Cardinals, 3-13 last year. Obviously, one worse than we were at 4-12. The 49ers lead this series 29-26. They last met, of course, divisional opponent in 2018. Cardinals did win that one, 18-15. I would have liked to play the Cardinals earlier on because at this point, we're going to know how good Kyler Murray is. And I think Kyler's going to be a really good quarterback. So I think by week 9, he might be pretty flashy. And they have, Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, they drafted another receiver, Isaiah Isabel, I believe. David Johnson's still the running back. Patrick Peterson's still there. On paper, Cliff Kingsbury can figure out the offense, and Kyler Murray stays healthy. This could be a pretty tough matchup here in week 9. Week 10, back-to-back divisional games. This one home against the Seattle Seahawks, but Monday Night Football. So you play on Thursday and then get like an extended, it's like a little mini bye there going until the next following Monday night there on November 11th. Seahawks were 10-6 last year, made the playoffs, lost to the Dallas Cowboys. The Seahawks lead the series 25-16. Last time we played them, though, you guys remember this one last year? 26-23, Niners won that in overtime. I feel like the Niners are good for one win over Seattle every single year. Maybe this is the one on national TV and, in the primetime lights. We'll see if where Russell Wilson's at. Like, who is targets? There's no Doug Baldwin. The running game is, it's basically Tyler Lockett on the outside, and then, of course, Luke Wilson, the tight end. So I'm curious to see where Seattle is here on Week 10 in the prime time lights. Week 11, Arizona Cardinals again. So you get a couple ones here. You go Cardinals, Seahawks, and then basically Cardinals again. So you're going to know the game film. You're going to know the tape. This one actually at home there at Levi Stadium. And again, we said it before, Cards 13-3 this past year. Last meeting, the Cards won 18-15 overall. So, if anything, you've now played Kyler Murray once, and so maybe you get a little bit better at spying him or blitzing him or figuring him out, if he is good at all, which, again, you never really know. Friendly reminder, you should have already done this, but if you're at this point in the video, you've not gotten your question in for the 49ers mailbag video next week, what are you doing? Pause the video, scroll down, use the hashtag 49ers, and then type, Thomas, what are your thoughts on this? And I'll answer it next week on one of our shows. You can also DM me on Twitter at RealThomasMott. Both ways work. We'll get your questions in either way. Week 12 here. We keep moving on. Green Bay Packers, normally a normal early afternoon kickoff, November 24th. At home, thankfully, don't have to go to Lambeau Field, so we're back home on the West Coast. Packers were 6-9 last year. Don't let that fool you. Green Bay is going to be very, very good this year. Healthy Aaron Rodgers. They addressed the defense. The offense has gotten better. The Packers lead the series 36-30 and 1 overall. They last met last year. Packers won 33-10. So, again, one of the harder games on our schedule. The Packers are going to be elite this year. They'll be very good. They're my pick to win the North. I think they're an 11-13 win football team. This could be a blowout if the Niners aren't good this year, but if the Niners are good, hey, two of the best young quarterbacks in the league. Well, Rodgers is up there now, but maybe one of the better young quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo, back to form, taking on Aaron Rodgers there at home. It could be a lot of fun. All right, the previous 4 games, throw them up. Let's recap them. At the Cardinals, 3 home games, Seahawks, Cardinals again, and then the Packers right there. So this little 4-game stretch is very division heavy. So I would like to go 3-1, but if we go 3-1 here, let's get the 3 against the division, and the one loss can be against the Packers, because divisional games, they matter a lot. Another question, this would be interesting, if you could only beat one of our division rivals twice every single year, who would it be? So again, if you could, because sweeping the season series, getting both wins is huge. Cardinals, Seahawks, Rams, you could beat one of those teams twice this year, and only one. Which one would you guys choose? I don't know who I'd take here. I feel like probably the Rams are the best team in the division, but I always like beating those Seahawks. The old Kaepernick versus Wilson, Kaepernick versus Sherman battles. Those were always really fun. I would like to beat them, but let me know. Scroll down, type in the comments down below. Finishing up here, Week 13 at Baltimore to start the month of December. Ravens were a playoff team, 10-6 last year, won their division. Only played them 6 times. Ravens have won 4 of those 6, and they last met in 2015. That was a Kaepernick versus Flacco, the Harbaugh battle there, 25-20. The Niners, hey, we did win that one. Lamar Jackson, can he throw is the question here. Excuse me, we know he can run the football, but can he actually throw the football? As he progresses will be the question on this one. In terms of the New Orleans Saints, Week 14 at the Saints. Tough one. Listen, the Saints are going to be really good this year. 13-3 this past year. We're really a couple of plays away from making the Super Bowl there in the NFC title game. The Niners lead the series 48-26-2 overall, and they last met in 2016, where the Saints won 41-23. It's kind of like the Packer game. It's like another, if we're good enough, it could be fun, but if we're, a bubble team, 6-7 win team this year, it'd be hard to beat the Saints, especially on the road there with the crowd noise in New Orleans. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo does. I don't know. We'll see. Another tough stretch here, and this final couple of games is brutal for the San Francisco 49ers. You just played at New Orleans. Now you come back home to take on the Atlanta Falcons December 15th. Falcons 7-9 last year, but they have improved a lot. The Niners lead the series 47-31-1. They last met in 2016, which was one of those ones we don't talk about, the 41-13 game. Remember that one? Blowout, not very good. Falcons beefed up the offensive line in the draft. 2 first-rounders, McGarry and Lindstrom, right tackle, right guard. We expect Matt Ryan to be fine, the running game to be fine. The question is pass rush. The Falcon pass rush does not look like it's going to be very good. They have Grady Jerrick, but Vic Beasley, Tack McKinley, not very scary on paper. So hopefully the offense can move the ball down the field and protect Jimmy Garoppolo in this matchup. Final 2 weeks, Week 16, playing the Rams again. This is one of those to-be-determined games. It could be Saturday or Sunday, December 21st or 22nd. We already mentioned all the Rams stuff there. 13-3 this past year. They won the last game, 48-32 last year. Okay, we know who the Rams are. We need to beat the Rams, though, because this is a very tough stretch here in this schedule. Because the final one, again, look, we're looking at the Saints, home against the Falcons, home against the Rams, and then at the Seattle Seahawks. Here we are, Week 17 on December 29th. This will be, they always put these divisional games in Week 17 just in case you're playing for your playoff lives. I could very well see this be a win and in situation, especially for the Seahawks and hopefully for the 49ers there. Again, they lead the series 25-16 and last met in 2018 last year where the Niners won in overtime 26-23. All right, recap the previous 5, the final 5 of the season. This is brutal. Remember, at Ravens, at Saints, Falcons, Rams, Seahawks to end the final 5. Those are all very good teams, all playoff teams minus the Falcons, but the Falcons are going to be a lot better this year. Woo! There's a lot to go over there. Prediction time for me. I went kind of game by game before I did the video, breaking down who I think is a win or a loss. I think it is most likely a 7-9 season because, again, how many of these final 5 do you really expect them to win, depending on where they're at? Now, if they overachieve, then I think this could be a 9-win football team. So we're talking about the floor, 6-7 wins. The ceiling is 9, so maybe right there at 8-8. If I'm going to predict it, don't get upset about it. I know we're all big fans. We'd be homers. I think 7-9 is very realistic. And up from 4 wins last year, 7-9 this year, 1 more year next year will be the playoff year. So let's just not get too carried away with only winning 7 games. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Be realistic. I don't want to see any, 16-0, 13-3, right? Let's be realistic. Go down to the comments. How many wins for the 49ers this year do you see after seeing this schedule? Because again, we just looked at it. It's tough. Those final 5 games are absolutely brutal. Get some wins early and hold on as we finish up the season. I think 7 wins is very realistic and very logical for your San Francisco 49ers. One final say, first ever mailbag next week. So if you go down, hashtag 49ers, ask me a question, I'll answer it in a video next week. Or you can always tweet me, DM me at RealThomasMott on Twitter. For Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott. That's all we have today for this video. Next week, obviously, a fresh 49ers rumor video and a mailbag video as well. So be sure to subscribe to Chat Sports because we got a lot of good stuff coming around. Again, I'm Thomas Mott signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.